All right, boxing fans, welcome back. Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. Seemed like it was a very long wait with all the antics and outside the ring and outside the fight antics by Mr. Garcia. I mean, Bohemian Grove talks of being kidnapped and forced to watch child abuse. I mean, you got to hand it to Mr. Garcia. I knew he was just playing all this time, but a lot of people took it serious. There was talks about stopping the fight. Ryan's not in control of his mental faculties and all that, but anyway, that don't matter no more. Here's the deal. Boxing is a very unpredictable sport, as we know. Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas. I mean, if we want to bring it closer to present time, Lomachenko versus Tiafimo. All right, you get where I'm going with this. It happens. Most of the times, we have so much confidence in our favorite fighter that we don't believe he can lose. I myself am not a hater of Devin Haney. He's on my list of top fighters. I think he's the closest thing to perfection in the ring, as a matter of fact. Styles make fights is the saying. Most people don't even know what that actually means. They just repeat it because they heard it before. But if style makes fights, I honestly believe that Styles also ruins the fight for one of the boxers. There was something about Ryan Garcia after the second round that affected Mr. Haney greatly. Devin Haney is very slick. He doesn't actually need full defense because at times his footwork gets him out of harm's way. It appeared to me Devin Haney's legs didn't function like they normally do. It appears to me that Devin Haney was very hesitant, and I'm not talking in the first round, the feel-out round. I'm talking once he settles in. Usually after 3 rounds, Devin Haney is pretty much settled in, and he's doing what he does best. But there was something about Ryan Garcia that affected Devin Haney greatly last night. I don't know what it is. It could be a mental thing, physical, or both. Besides Devin Haney being very good at boxing, he's a pure boxer. And normally pure boxers does not pack power in their punch. I'm not saying depending on the situations, they cannot hurt you. But they normally don't pack the concussive power in their punches because their power comes from their other abilities: speed, ring IQ, footwork, defense, etc., etc. Haney is very crisp. And I think the only real attribute that I would give to Ryan Garcia is his hand speed. Ryan Garcia has a nice pair of hands when he uses them correctly. And I believe it was his hand speed last night that was his power. Because that hand speed caught Mr. Haney off guard several times. And as we all know, power just hurts really bad, but speed kills. Imagine being hit one time by a sledgehammer or stung by a million bees. Which one would you prefer? I might take that sledgehammer as opposed to the multiple bee stings, if you understand what I'm saying. Honestly believe Garcia possibly could have stopped Devin Haney before the 6th round if he had applied himself. But most likely he didn't want to take that risk in dumping his load and then not getting the stoppage and then having to recoup. So he played it wise. Devin Haney, up until this point, never needed a plan B, C, D, E, F, or whatever letter alphabet you want to use, because Normally his plan A in the ring works extremely well. But I think this was to his detriment because he needed to make an adjustment, so let's say after the third or fourth round. I mean, in 12-round fights, you have a lot of time. But if one notices that within the first 4 rounds, things aren't going his way, it is advisable to change his approach and techniques, or forever attempt to do the only thing you know to do, and which is what Devin Haney did. He did not change. He did not adjust. He just kept moving forward with his same approach. Being knocked down for the first time on the outside to the fans might not seem like much, besides the knockdown is a bad thing in boxing. But you got to understand the inside psyche of a boxer in this situation. He's in a bad place mentally. And as we all know, mentality affects your physicality. Being knocked down 3 times would increase that greatly by 3 times. Devin Haney has never been in this situation before, and or his corner. And if you've never had an experience before, especially on this nature, it wreaks major havoc on the mind. It affects your physicality. Devin Haney was affected greatly by the knockdowns, and his mind was also affected. I do believe a rematch is necessary. Now that Ryan Garcia is the shot caller, what will happen? I really doubt Devin Haney will get instant access to Ryan Garcia for a rematch right away. Haney might have to do some soul searching. Haney will have to get back in the lab and work on things, and maybe not even work on things, but add new things to his repertoire. I think Devin Haney needs to work on some power. He's good at boxing, don't get me wrong, and he will sting you a million times. But if Devin Haney was to possess a concussive punch and add that to his boxing abilities, he'll be a greater force to be reckoned with. Now that we have some information and data upon his performance with Ryan Garcia, we can summarize the outcome of a Devin Haney versus Tank Davis. And I believe with the data I've received from Garcia versus Haney, if I was to apply it to a Haney versus Tank Davis being the more aggressive, power-punching KO artist, I do honestly believe Tank Davis would cripple Devin Haney's performance of last night, and stop him within 4 to 5 rounds, as opposed to Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia now, although he did not win the belts, there's times when you don't need stinking belts in boxing. He's now the people's champ. All right? Yes, it's nice to possess a belt, but it's been proven many times that you don't really need a belt in boxing if you're good and you can deliver the package that pleases the promoters, the fans, and everyone else. Who's next for Mr. Ryan Garcia? That's a very interesting question. I honestly believe after this performance and dispatching of Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia deserves a rematch against Tank Davis. A little unfinished business, maybe. It would be a more exciting fight than the first, coming off of this victory against Mr. Haney, that's for sure. So, Haney didn't show up to the post-fight conference. And besides him probably feeling like shit and crap about the loss, and probably being taken to the hospital to be checked out. He looked swollen up on both sides of the face. You know, he did take some punishment. I do believe that with the crap his father talked, all this stuff about killing and death and so forth, they didn't want nothing to do with that post-fight press conference for obvious reasons. Devin Haney is still up there on my list, and I honestly do believe that this loss, this defeat, will make him better in the end. For one thing, he doesn't have to worry about being undefeated anymore. That burden has been relieved of him via Ryan Garcia. There's nothing wrong with a loss now and then, says no one, but let's get real, it's boxing, and like I said, very unpredictable sport. No matter how good your fighter is, no matter how many people he's knocked out and stopped, there is always that lurking possibility that some unsuspecting fighter will have your number. Ryan Garcia had Devin Haney's number last night. It was a good fight. I have no complaints. You know, if it wasn't for that point taken back, Ryan would have had that 10-8 in that round, but it does not matter. What matters is whose hands was raised in the end, and it was Ryan Garcia's hands that was raised in the end. Anyway, that's just my outlook on it. Didn't want to bore you with all that technical mumbo jumbo. Just wanted to share my thoughts on the Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney fight. I'm out.